Good day everyone, I am Kimberly Nicorgana. So my topic is all about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process used by plants and other organisms to convert light energy into chemical energy that, through cellular respiration, can later be released to fuel the organism's activities. Some of this chemical energy is stored in carbohydrate molecules such as sugars and starches, which are synthesized from carbon dioxide and water. Hence, the name photosynthesis from the Greek word phos, which means light, and synthesis, which means putting together. Photosynthesis process. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to create oxygen and energy in the form of sugar. Most life on Earth depend on photosynthesis. The process is carried out by plants, algae, and some types of bacteria which capture energy from sunlight to produce oxygen and chemical energy stored in glucose or sugar. Herbivores then obtain this energy by eating plants, and carnivores obtain it by eating herbivores. So during photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and water from the air and soil. Within the plant cell, the water is oxidized, meaning it loses electrons, while the carbon dioxide is reduced, meaning it gains electrons. This transforms the water into oxygen and the carbon dioxide into glucose. The plant then releases the oxygen back into the air and stores energy within the glucose molecules. The next is the chlorophyll. Inside the plant cell are small organelles called chloroplasts, which store the energy of sunlight. Within the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast is a light-absorbing pigment called chlorophyll, which is responsible for giving the plant its green color. The plant leaves are green because that color is the part of sunlight reflected by a pigment in the leaves called chlorophyll. Light-dependent reaction versus light-independent reaction. While there are many types or steps behind the process of photosynthesis, it can be broken down into two major stages. So the first one is the light-dependent reaction and the light-independent reaction. So the light-dependent reaction takes place within the thylakoid membrane and requires a steady stream of sunlight, hence named the light-dependent reaction. The chlorophyll absorbs energy from the light waves, which is converted into chemical energy in the form of molecules ATP and NADPH. So the light-independent stage, also known as Calvin cycle, take place in the stroma, the space between the thylakoid membrane and the chloroplast membranes, and does not require light. Hence, the name is the light-independent reaction. The C3 and C4 photosynthesis. So not all forms of photosynthesis are created equal. However, there are different types of photosynthesis, including the C3 photosynthesis and C4 photosynthesis. The C3 photosynthesis is used by the majority of plants. It involves producing a 3-carbon compound called 3-phosphoglyceric acid during the Calvin cycle, which goes on to become glucose. So the C4 photosynthesis, on the other hand, produces a 4-carbon intermediate compound, which splits into carbon dioxide and the 3-carbon compound during the Calvin cycle. A benefit of C4 photosynthesis is that by producing a higher level of carbon, it allows plants to thrive in environments without much light or water. So does photosynthesis occurs in plants? Photosynthesis takes place inside plant cell in small objects called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts contain a green substance called chlorophyll. This absorbs the light energy needed to make photosynthesis happens. So the plants and algae can only carry out photosynthesis in the light. So photosynthesis takes place inside plant cells in a small object called chloroplasts. So chloroplasts contain a green substance called chlorophyll. So photosynthesis is the process that occurs in the leaves of a plant and need both chlorophyll and light energy. So during photosynthesis, the chlorophyll in leaves help convert carbon dioxide and water into the products oxygen and glucose. So the product glucose acts as a vital source of food for the plant. Carbon dioxide, water, and light are needed for photosynthesis to take place. So these are the things the plants need for photosynthesis. The first one is the carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide molecules consist of a carbon atom covalently doubled bond to 2 oxygen atoms. It occurs naturally in Earth's atmosphere as a trace gas. So the next one is the water. As far as we know, water is an inorganic, transparent, tasteless, odorless, and nearly colorless chemical substance, which is the main constituent of Earth's hydrosphere and the fluids of all known living organisms. Water is also called the universal solvent. So the third one is the light or a source of energy, which is the sun. So these are the things that plants make by photosynthesis. The first one is the glucose. Glucose is known as a simple sugar with the molecular formula C3H12NO6. So glucose is the most abundant monosaccharide, a subcategory of carbohydrates. The next is oxygen. Oxygen is the chemical element with the symbol of 0 and the atomic number of 8. It is a member of the chalcogen group in the periodic table, a highly reactive nonmetal, and an oxidizing agent that readily forms oxides with most elements as well as with other compounds. So why is photosynthesis important? So without photosynthesis, life as we knew it would come to an end, as almost every food chain depends on it, either directly or indirectly. Producers such as algae, seaweed, grasses, and phytoplankton all require photosynthesis to make their own food. So photosynthesis brings about a balance in the ecosystem as it decreases the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Together with other processes such as respiration and combustion, it can help to maintain levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So without photosynthesis, we wouldn't have fossil fuels such as coal and petroleum, as this were formed from the photosynthetic processes. These non-renewable sources were made by the breakdown of older plants. So photosynthesis provides organisms with oxygen, a gas that many living things need. Oxygen is a product of photosynthesis and is needed for respiration. All organisms respire to release energy and to stay alive. So that is all for today. Thank you for listening.